Welcome to the UU Church of Oak Cliff. Here we seek to build community where what you believe is less important than how your beliefs guide and inform your participation in the world. Ours is a community that strives to value the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. To our returning visitors, we are so happy you've joined us again. To everyone online, we know your time is precious and we're honored to have you here today. We would also like to extend a warm welcome to anyone joining us for the first time. We recognize the bravery it takes to come to a new place, and we're so glad that you're here. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness.
Our opening words this morning come from Marsha P. Johnson. History isn't something you look back at and say it was inevitable. It happens because people make decisions that are sometimes very impulsive and of the moment. But those moments are cumulative realities. I'd also like to introduce today's call to worship hymn, Holy and Divine. This song is recorded. Our singers do not need to perform it live this morning. This is a prior recording that we've done, and this is our first recording that we've done as the Sunday Singers. This is for people who feel they do not have the support that they need, that they have been told otherwise, that they do not matter, and of course they do. We love you all, and thank you. Thank you, Hope, for listening.
Lean in, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Our lives are holy and divine. Lean in, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Our lives are holy and divine. Lean in, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Our lives are holy and divine. Lean in, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Once again, our holy and divine. Now and always, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Once again, our holy and divine. Now and always, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Lean in, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Once again, we love you. Now and always, we love you. Our lives are holy and divine.
To start off, I'd like to read. I've always kind of imagined it as a children's book that I'd like to have published at some point someday. And it is called Some People Wear Dresses. Some people wear dresses. Some people wear pants. If we weren't at all different, we'd be just like ants. There'd make no point in dreaming, no one care how you feel. Just wandering around, looking for your next meal. Some people like football, some people bake buns. Not one is the same, and that's what makes life fun. Because if we're all the same, there's no reason for art, or music, or dancing, or trying to be smart. We'd all be called there'd be no need for names. We'd have no more need for fun and for games. We'd all walk around looking down at our feet, because if we're all the same, there's no reason to meet. Just because somebody tells you it's weird doesn't mean you can't grow out a 30-foot beard. or build a canoe with only your hands, or be in a 20-piece one-person band. You've got your whole life to find out why you tick, or talk if that's your thing, or maybe you thwick. If you look hard enough, you'll find a talk to your tick, or a Clyde to your Bonnie, or a mud to your stick. Or maybe you like being out on your own, walking in nature, singing songs with a stone. Or painting a picture that only you'll see, or curled up with a cat and a good book to read. Sometimes life is lonely and you can't find a friend, but your story's just starting. It's not where it ends. It's okay if you don't know yet what makes you into you. It doesn't make what I am saying less true. Some people were different and that made them a star. If that doesn't work out, you still are who you are. Not one of us knows what makes you into you if you don't let it out and live to be true. I wrote that in 2015. God. If anyone would have told me 15 years ago where I'd be today, what I'd look like, what my name would be, I wouldn't have believed you. There would have been no reason to believe you. I didn't really understand it myself. I grew up very isolated in a small town and had no concept of what queerness was. I essentially knew that gay men existed as a concept, and I knew that they were bad. And that was pretty much all that I knew. There was a time when I was in high school that I saw two girls holding hands, and I thought that was funny, that they were playing a funny joke when they kissed each other. And I thought that was just a funny little thing that they were doing, and it just did not even occur to me for years that they may have been in a relationship or anything remotely like that. It's really funny because almost all of my middle school girlfriends are all lesbians. And looking back, we were all very sapphic-coded in all of the sitting on the phone, looking at the moon together, and saying that we're both looking at the same moon and that someday we're going to get married, and we're 10, 11, 12 years old. Just very, very, just every stereotype of lesbian courtship. Because this is going on the internet, I'm not going to dox the most serious of those girlfriends, but I can tell you that her name literally sounds like what J.K. Rowling would have named a lesbian character. So it was a very, 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 very slow journey. And honestly, in a way, I'm really glad that I didn't know, because as I've known more about myself and known more people in the trans community, I've learned that there's a different type of longing that takes place. And while I did know that in my 20s, I can imagine it's a certain type of hell to live through puberty and watch that happen to yourself. For me, it was a little bit different. In 8th grade, at orientation in homeroom, as they were going through the syllabus for the year, they said that you couldn't have facial hair. And this is so embarrassing. I stopped the teacher and I said, "Excuse me, teacher, is my mustache too thick for school guidelines?" And it probably was just two little hairs. And I was so proud of those two little hairs. And in a way, I think that was a certain type of dysphoria and dysmorphia, that I saw those two little hairs as just like the beacon of my masculinity, just the absolute beacon that was just so shining. And the teacher came up to me, I swear to God, and just... "No, I think that'll be fine, thank you." And, you know, it, to not risk unlocking the deepest, darkest shames that I've only recently got in with my therapist, I'll just say that there were signs in my darkest of darkness, and literally hiding in my closet. There were signs. We can bring up the first slide if we've got it. I was known through college and high school as someone that always and regularly would ironically wear women's articles of clothing, and it was just a really funny goof that I would do. This is one of the only ones that I could find that didn't show my face. I couldn't bring myself to show y'all some of ones where I was dressed entirely full femme, but with a big old beard that you can see in the next slide. And that was about as close as it got, man. I tell you that right there, the was the little smock, the apron, that gave me so much euphoria, y'all. Oh my God, it gave me so much euphoria. And it was something that, like, I had known. I mean, I had a big beard. I wish I could bring myself to. I mean, I used to hide a pack of cigarettes in it. Like, I could hide a pack of cigarettes in my beard, and I was, you know, it was at the peak of, like, where there would be T-shirts that were like, "Bring beards. Beards are beautiful," like that kind of, like, 2012, like, you know, hipster culture. So it was just like, and to me, it was literally just. By the end of high school, I got so tired of shaving every day that once I got out of high school, I just quit entirely and just grew out my beard just as long as because I just didn't want to deal with it. Again, its own little form of dysphoria. I also just always really had a lot of big feelings about my chest and showing my chest in public in swimming situations. My weight has fluctuated a lot over the years. And I always thought that it was that. But there's, you know, things that we talk about in trans spaces that, where you just always hear people say, like, you literally just can't understand what it actually feels like until you experience it. Like, you really just can't. And I was experiencing it, and I couldn't describe it, and I couldn't understand it, and I couldn't fathom it. I'm going to take a wide berth around the next little bit here because there's a lot of painful memories in there. But I did have a partner that was supportive. Certainly was someone that I explored it with, and was maybe less supportive in hindsight than I thought, because I was just kind of grasping at every little straw that I could to think that it was okay and that I was going to be okay. And then one day I was on Reddit and I was scrolling down. And I saw, you know, I would just scroll on Reddit throughout the day at work or whatever, just like when I would. So I would get down to where there would be posts that had tan up votes. And one time I saw a post on cross-dressing, new word, didn't know what that was talking about how cross-dressing didn't seem like enough for them. And for whatever reason, I looked at it and I said, huh? So not only is there a word for this thing that I've kind of been doing for years, but there's lots of other people that do it. They all look really pretty. And then there's also this other thing that also exists that maybe we'll just go to that later, maybe. There's no need to acknowledge that now, certainly. And there's certainly no need to sit and find the trans timeline subreddit and then search for my age at the time, +5 and 5 years, and cry when I realized that people could get pretty. Where it was just this hypothetical of if I could start then at, like, I don't know, 23, 24. I thought I was toast. So I was like, there's no way. There's just no way. And what's really funny is I didn't even realize this, that, like, I think here in a month it'll be 5 years of HRT for me. And it's been a journey, I'll tell you what. I certainly didn't know that we would be at the forefront of everyone's ire at the moment. No one told me being trans was going to be hard. And I don't know what I would have done if I would have known. Because I do know that in 2016, after the elections, I thought that I had to do something. I couldn't keep going where November would come along, and well, it's No Shave November. Well, for No Shave November to count, I need to start with a clean shave, right? And then I can show everyone how much of a beard I can grow in a month. So I get to shave. I think we can go a slide. And, that was, oh boy. And you wouldn't believe the misogynist comments that I got from just posting a picture of myself without a beard. From people that have since come back and apologized to me, years later, and there were people at that time, and it was just because at that time I was a boy that dressed a little fruity as always. This was one of the first times I went to work. We're kind of skipping ahead a little bit because I'm worried about time, but I did eventually, just so imperceptibly, I thought, start coming out. And at work, one day someone asked me if I was wearing mascara, and I said yes, because it was my mascara. And when I did eventually come out as non-binary, as genderqueer, as a gender fuck, my going line was, it's not a woman's dress, it's my dress. It's not a woman's dress, it's my dress. These are my clothes. There's some of these slides. Next slide. This was one of the first times that I went out to Sue Ellen's. Actually, I think this was one of the first times that I went and just walked outside in a dress. I remember I went to try to see a movie by myself at Angelica, and just, man, there's just really nothing like the fear of feeling like everyone is looking at you in a not great way. And I would pretty routinely just go put on, get thumbed up, and then go on my day off to the Grapevine Mills Mall and just do a lap. And at the time I thought, yeah, there's no one there. But because there's no one there, you're the one that everyone's looking at as you're walking by. And it probably would have been more effective for me to go on the busiest Saturday and just kind of blend in. But, that's how it was. And we can go to the next slide. I'm not sure exactly the order that these ended up in. That's one of many, many, many Long Island iced teas at Sue Ellen's. One of the first times that I went to Sue Ellen's by myself. And someone asked me my name. At the time, I was going by my birth name, or as I jokingly call it, my Christian name. I was going by my Christian name, and I said, no, what's your real name? And I was like, that's my name. And for a long time, I thought that was fine. My name was spelled uniquely enough that I wanted to be mononymous, just one name. Next slide. We'll see what's coming up here. This was New Year's, right before my life exploded. This was the last New Year with my partner of, I think we ended up being together for 8 years, maybe 10 years, something like that. And she did my makeup. We stayed in for New Year's, and I looked really hot in a dress. But it was very much at home. That was it. Next slide. After they left, I figured, well, there's no time like the present. Time to come out. And I came out at work. And this was one of the first times that I went to work in a dress. on a Saturday when I was there, when there was basically no one there. But that was still a step. Still a step. God, my hair looks so good. There were periods of time where it just felt euphoric to drive around in those flats, just to put the flats on and drive. Not even the heels, just put on flats and pump my gas and just. Everyone's looking at my feet. Oh my God! Everyone's gonna see. Everyone's gonna see. I don't even know what I expected to happen. I don't know. That jacket, it gives me life still to this day. Next slide. Okay, this is an important image. Denton folks probably know where this is. This is at Recycled Books. And this represents the very first time, we fast forwarded a little bit, but this was the very first time that I picked out an outfit for an event and then realized I picked out a dress. Does that make sense? Or it wasn't like a special occasion. It was just, I wanted to wear this outfit, and that outfit happened to be a dress, and it felt comfortable, and that was what I wore that day. I love that picture, man. Next slide. Some friends of mine invited me to Fraternal Order of Eagles, the FOEs, the big public pool, semi-public pool. There was a very big sign as you walked in that said no Speedos. And I was really, really worried that me, an ostensibly mask-presenting person in a one-piece femme-coated bathing suit probably qualified as a Speedo. And so I spent a lot of time, actually, if we'll go to the next slide and then we can come back to it, but I spent a lot of time taking iconic pictures of myself in a lawn chair and baking my ass off because it was so hot and I wanted to get in the pool so bad. And that friend in that last picture that we can go back to came up to me and I was like, oh, I'm just going to watch this stuff. I'm going to read my book. And I'm sweating. And I remember I asked her, I said, hey, it's going to be okay if I go in there, right? And she's like, yeah, it's great. She's like, I'll come with you. I was like, okay, awesome. And I swear to God, as we walked by, it was like a needle drop in a movie of Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult. It was like, as I was walking slow-mo by the pool, it was, baby, don't fear the Reaper. And I got in the pool and had an amazing time. If you've never been to FOE, it's great. At least at the time, they had $2 High Lives and like 50-cent Jello shots. It's crazy. It would get wild out there. Next slide. I guess skip a couple slides. Coming up to the last one. So this was a mirror that I still have, but on there one night after my life had fallen apart and as I was really just trying everything that I could to keep it together, I wrote in lipstick, in my Fenty lipstick, am I beautiful yet? And that was my mantra. That was something that just, I took so many pictures in that mirror and just remembered a lot that feeling of desperation just coming out in Am I Beautiful Yet? And this picture here is Joys of Home Ownership. This is actually the time that I was talking about where my house flooded. This was a time that my house had flooded. I'd had a big leak behind an appliance for months and didn't know, so I couldn't take care of it. And I was going to Home Depot and wanted to look as much like a boy as I could. And so, as far as I know, this is the last time that I ever tried to pass as a boy and look like I knew what I was doing with a tool, which nowadays I kind of accept my butch nature, but that was. And if we go to the next one, we can see, she's beautiful, huh? Wow, what a fox. Good gravy. I think I gave away that dress at the first clothing swap, so whoever has that, I hope. And we can just swap back and forth those a couple times, maybe. Yeah, we can see, oh, wow, what a beautiful transformation. Even though I think this picture comes before the other one. Yeah, well. But she looks happy, doesn't she? She looks really happy. We can go to the next slide. And I think that's one more. Sue Ellen's Long Island Iced Teas. Go next slide, please. This was when I was a featured artist at the art conspiracy. The white piece at my navel level is my piece in the auction, and that was a floor-length cocktail dress that I had a friend modify it into like a high-low situation, and it was pretty iconic. Again, still going by my Christian name at the time, but just as that first name, and it was pretty iconic. Next slide, please. This one, oh boy, that was my 30th birthday. Like I said, complicated relationship with my body and its dimensions and measurements. But that was a point where that was a triumphant moment for that dress. That's like a freaking like European 8 or some shit. Sorry. Next slide. And look at her. Oof. Yeah. Look at her, huh? I used to smoke. Don't smoke. No one smoke, please. I smoked for 12 years. I've quit 4 years ago. I think that's the last of the yeah, thank you. That's the last of those slides, but I wanted to talk briefly about some other ways that I expressed and found solace as I was exploring my gender and things like that, and a lot of it was with art. So if we'll go to the next slide. This was a later piece that I worked on under my pseudonym Dick Dick. That was like assembled found images that I would cut together because I worked at an auction house and would take these like baseball cards and things like that and kind of edit them. And this one says, I used to think I wanted my father's face, and there's been some edits done to the face that just like if you really like spend some time looking at it, it becomes really uncanny. It's not a just image of a person's face. It's got some very uncanny kind of things just to kind of give you that like uncertainty and fear with it. And also we see the eyes behind the person just kind of staring at them, and this kind of recursive turning in on itself. Next slide, please. During 2020, I had a partner that had an iPad with the Apple Pencil, and I took to that like a duck to water. There's the sketch of the next image here. I call this my self-portrait in reverse. There's a skeleton character that I've been drawing since I was like 12, 13. They don't really have a name. They've always been an insert, and we'll see in the next slide, please. They were always a person a way to express kind of my innermost self. I mean, my bones, how much more inside can you get? I love a pun. Wake me when it's over, wake me when it's over. They're skeleton, presumably dead, and they need a wake, and then they're saying wake me when it's over and digging themselves down into the ground. Next slide. Also, entirely these are all very anatomical correct. That's what my bones look like. If yours look different, that's fine. So this is a part of I've got a couple comics to share, and then we'll wrap up here. This slide says, "Wowzers! Would you get a load of that broad?" Next slide. You can't really see, but so there's the skeleton. Skeleton is back here. Our character that we were just talking to. And there's a skull on the ground there, and the skull says, that's a dude. Okay, next slide. It says, how can you tell? She's not wearing a bow. And I think that's really great because I love that, it's a very prominent thing that, I don't know if y'all saw that. Did y'all know that, Grumpy Cat's a girl? Grumpy Cat's a girl. Grumpy Cat was a girl. Rest in peace, Grumpy Cat. But as a society, we really do kind of tend to gender things initially as male. There's also some works that I did where it's just like, assuming that the skeletons, I can't speak for y'all, but I think a lot of times we would assume white male, just like that's the default. Next. So this one's another self-portrait. This is why this is self-portrait. Oh boy, big date tonight. Next slide. Guess I better put my face on. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Wait. Next slide. Is this what I really look like? And I think that's, just so indicative of the experience at that moment of just like you have this kind of self-conception. You have this conception of what you look like and who you are. And you look in the mirror and you see something else that you didn't expect. I now recognize that those feelings that I had at the poolside were me literally seeing breasts on my chest. I understood myself to have, even if I thought that they were man boobs, I thought I had boobs. I thought everyone saw them. Everyone just was looking at them, and so I needed to hide them. I needed to cover them. I didn't even know. And the way that I found out was that when I did finally go to Prism Health, which is an amazing queer-centered health care provider in Dallas, I went there they do free STI panels, so I went for an STI panel. The person saw that I was wearing femme-coated underwear during my when they were swabbing, and I had thrown out all of my male-coated underwear years before, but they said, we have gender services. And I said, oh, thanks, but I don't need that, obviously, right? I don't need that. And that was in October of 2019. And fast forward to May of 2020, about a month into lockdown, and I call crying, leaving a message. Oh, hello? Someone told me y'all did gender services. Can I get an appointment? And I would later find out that I was not the first nor the last person that called and left a voicemail on that line in that period. Because as it turns out, when you spend some time alone, not in the gaze of others, and you get to really spend time in that mirror and see who you are, not just who you want to project, you really learn a lot about yourself. So, thank you, everyone.
Our closing words today come from Andrea Hawkins Kemper. Be about the work. May we see all as it is, and may it all be as we see it. May we be the ones to make it as it should be. For if not us, who? If not now, when? This is answering the cry of justice with the work of peace. This is redeeming the pain of history with the grace of wisdom. This is the work we are called to do, and this is the call we answer now. To be the barrier and the bridge. To be the living embodiment of our principles. To be about the work of building the beloved community. To be a people of intention and a people of conscience.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. Those we carry in our hearts until we are together again.